First thing.
Is the government getting shut down or what? And somebody has a pig kidney. Congratulations. Lawmakers have until just after midnight, 9 p.m. Pacific time, to pass funding to keep the government open. They're set to vote on a $1.2 trillion package today. And this will be one of those days where they will all get, the open mic late in the afternoon. And then the cable networks will, because they have nothing today, because the news cycle closed with Biden not even escaping Texas before that footage was released. But so they'll go live with this, and it'll pass. A brief weekend shutdown wouldn't have that much impact, but if it goes longer, thousands of workers would go unpaid, and key services would be interrupted. By the way, speaking of unpaid federal workers, so do you all know that, let's say, hey, kids, let's go to Mount Rainier. If you go to a national park, any national park that charges an entry fee no longer accepts cash. And Mount Rainier and other national parks are advising people don't carry cash into the national park. Because we're getting to the season, if you didn't know this, in the summer, the crime rate, the property theft and robbery rate and violent crime rate in national parks increases tenfold. Because more cars are there, more people are out there with all their money because they're on vacation, whatever. And the Park Service has to hire summer staff, like law enforcement summer staff, the whole thing. So a bit of a surprise. But if you're thinking you're going to pay cash at the Longmire Gate or the North Gate or whatever and get in Mount Rainier, then you get something else coming. And your Discovery Pass, your state pass, they laugh at you. It's a federal national park. That's why it's a national park. So anyway, last time I tried to wave a phone, they didn't take it at Longmire at the gate to get up to Paradise. And I thought, well, what is it, 2008 on Mount Rainier? So apparently it's going to be different or something. Because I have a lifetime pass. So I just roll through that front gate. And
thanks, Uncle Sam.
Yeah, thanks, Bin Laden, actually. So anyway, that's going to be the cashless federal government by 9 p.m. tonight. It'll pass. So anyway, thing two.
Second thing.
Well, I'm not part of this monopoly, but Greg is. The Department of Justice, Merrick Garland talking tech yesterday. That was scary. They accused Apple of monopolizing the smartphone market. Now, I've never seen this from a tech. What does it look like when I text from my dumb old caveman Luddite Android to your phone? Does it say incoming idiocy, or does it give you an alert?
Here's the deal.
What's the green bubble?
With us iPhone users, there's a prejudice against the green bubbles. When I text you, your message appears in green, and mine appears in blue. When I
Do they other me?
When I text a fellow iPhone user, their message appears blue. So it's demeaning to people who love green everywhere. Furthermore, if you send
I'm sending you test.
Well, yeah. If you send me a video, Brian.
2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
If you send me a video, the video appears grainy.
Really?
So it doesn't appear in the quality that it was originally filmed.
How about the sound?
In. The sound is terrible. So if you send me footage that you capture on your phone, Apple purposefully makes it look like crap.
Really?
So you know it's coming from an Android user.
I am recording a video here in the studio of KTTH to send to Greg.
Wow, this is a grand experiment.
I know. Good radio.
My goodness.
Okay, check. All right, so sending it right now.
Getting a video from you is always, you're rolling the
Pretty
dice.
magic, isn't it?
You're rolling the dice.
I know.
I don't know what I'm going to get.
So you're saying it comes in green text. Can you change that?
No, you can't.
They're othering me?
They want you to know it's not an iPhone.
Okay, it says
user.
at my end, it says it went through.
I've got nothing from you so far, and I'm 10 feet away.
And I'm off Wi-Fi.
Oh, here we go.
Is it grainy? Because as you see in real time, I'm not grainy.
It is grainy, and it's jumpy. The footage is jumpy.
But I just recorded it. It was
that's the.
You heard me.
That's what Merrick Garland is so ticked off about.
Power to Garland. It's a monopoly. Get out your pitchforks. Everybody, so that's, but okay. I've looked up monopoly, and I've looked up colonization, and I've looked up every word that lefties use. That's not going to make me buy an Apple. They're not putting the thumb on the scale of my T-Mobile Android-based, probably a Google Pixel 8. So I disagree on that. If I was Apple, and Apple has the largest cash reserve of any corporation, they have like $100 billion like just lying around, just earning interest in the savings side.
Operating system and expensive hardware. And as any iPhone user who has ever seen a green text message or received a tiny, grainy video can attest, Apple's anti-competitive conduct also includes making it more difficult for iPhone users to message with users of non-Apple products. It does this by diminishing the functionality of its own messaging app and by diminishing the functionality of third-party messaging apps.
That's a voice so annoying, even Robert F. Kennedy turns on the Cyndi Lauper song.
It's getting more frail, it sounds
yes,
like.
It is.
I know that's superficial,
I want to go to that.
I noticed the same thing.
I want to go to that round table with RFK Jr. and Merrick Garland talking about stuff and junk. The government's most aggressive attempt yet to challenge Apple seems like a reach, but the lawsuit filed yesterday may face a high legal bar in court because I might be there. So that's thing 2.
Which would bring us to thing 3?
Someday.
Third thing.
There we go. Thing 3. More ammunition for your hippie niece from Evergreen. If your hippie kids depended on you, bring their laundry home from Montlake or Olympia to you and expect you to do it because from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Then you can just hit them with this, that if they were still supporting Joe Biden, then Genocide Joe, as they're calling him. There was some punk from South Carolina was on Instagram talking about how he's intellectually consistent because he's pro-Palestine, which is the equivalent of being pro-Ukraine. Because, see, they were both invaded. This is a guy whose worldview begins around noon, October 8th. Somehow it totally disregards the provocation incident that led to this Israeli, apparently victorious war against Hamas with if past is prologue about wars that are won and stuff. But here was the story. This is a shot across the White House's bow. They're freaking out about this because the Jerusalem Post, their story yesterday, Israel's Gaza assassination campaign, U.S. approved and sent intel to the IDF, according to a report. You do not push back on the intelligence community of America or Israel and not get a pushback. And so that's what this is. A report from American congressional figures that got information. Figures that seizures of intelligence were behind the assassination of Hamas member Marwan Issa last week. The unnamed officials, both former and current, claimed that the U.S. had stepped up intelligence gathering operations in Gaza. And that's let me check notes. Yep. Joe Biden is still the president of the United States. And so the senior Hamas guy that was killed last week was killed because his voice was identified. American provided voice identification programs. Not the Israelis don't have the same stuff, but American intelligence, SIGINT, intelligence, were provided in real time to the IDF so that they knew where what tunnel exactly he was in. And that intelligence was generated and originated, some say, by an American-operated drone that was orbiting down at 20,000 feet over Gaza because there was a notice to departing aircraft from Tel Aviv. And so, like it or not, folks, believe me, it's not like Biden's on the phone going, okay, we're cutting off Israel completely. No, the intelligence community has Israel on a permanent speakerphone on this because we're experimenting with stuff and they're experimenting with our stuff too. So anyway, Genocide Joe just rolls on. That's thing 3.
Fourth thing.
Israel's about to win, but you're not seeing that anywhere in any of the American media. And you know who was the last Führer and Chancellor of Nazi Germany? That's a bar bet right there. Who signed as Chancellor of Germany? Who signed the unconditional surrender with Eisenhower on the other side of the table?
Who signed the unconditional surrender of Germany?
Who was the last Führer?
That's a $2,000 Jeopardy question right there.
Admiral Karl Dönitz, who has been whitewashed by history because he lived, But he was as Nazi as they came, by the way, and so was Rommel, because Hitler capped himself. And so when organizations are up against the wall, like many say the Third Reich around May 7th was up against the wall. So was Hamas, because the finger pointing is already happening, but of course not there. It's happening at the Hyatt in Qatar. There have been fights because all the Hamas leaders have personal security guards, and they have camps and favorites and all thing, and there are open fights in hotels in Qatar, and it's reflecting on what's happening back in Gaza, and nothing says we're about to lose like a fight over at the omelet buffet or whatever. But pig kidney, you say? Well, that's fourth thing.
Fifth thing.
Another reason to move to Florida. A new Florida law bans homeless people from sleeping in public places. Outlaws sleeping overnight on streets and sidewalks or in parks, but it outlaws it. But critics say the bill, signed by Governor DeSantis, won't help unhoused people. Well, it'll certainly help fans of non-poopy sidewalks. And so I thought we were doing this. I know someone that got a pig valve in their heart, and they're Jewish. They got a non-kosher valve in their heart, and they're still alive, many say, that have that work around the individual. But a kidney, I mean, that's an actual a valve, an aorta, whatever, those aren't organs. 62-year-old Richard Slayman became the first living person to receive a genetically edited pig kidney. He's recovering well. They always say that. Pig kidneys could vastly increase the supply of kidneys for transplant, giving hope to hundreds of thousands of Americans who rely on dialysis machines. They said it as soon as it was installed, or whatever they do, it began pinking up. Not picking up, pinking up. It began receiving blood. So there's that. Great news for a country that doesn't allow what a lot of other countries do, and that is, yes, sell a kidney. In many European countries, there's nothing illegal about it. In fact, it's encouraged. There's entire hospitals in India where people go in for like a month to clean out an antioxidant and that whole thing. There is a very actual commercial market for kidneys. And then there's the thing where they kill a political prisoner in China and you get one of their kidneys. So anyway, I know someone who donated a kidney to a guy that required 3 kidney transplants, and he eventually died, taken away too early. And I have a friend who got a heart and a kidney. And you know what they do with the old kidney? They leave it in. So you get 2 in a row. Then total of 3. Back in a second, AM 770 KTTH.